Alright, hello and welcome to part 2 of LTF, featuring Dr. Richard Pomante. Joseph Werner has left us for the evening. Joseph Werner is the co-host. He had to tend to other engagements, so it's just the two of us here. Thank you for sticking around with us. Really quick, just another shout out to our sponsors. First one being Helios Micro Water, and you can find them online at Helios Water Group, the number 5.webs.com, and you can order your Helios Micro Water there. Check out the website for details, and mention the word freedom and get 10% off of 10 bottles or more. Also sponsored by Willpowered Fit Training. You can find them online at willpoweredfittraining.webs.com, and schedule your appointment with Will there today and get $10 sessions and your first session free if you mention the word freedom. And again, that's willpoweredfittraining.webs.com. Very short, very sweet, because I want to get into as much conversation here with my friend Richard Pomante as possible in regards to such topics as the dangers of vaccine, as well as the war on terror, in air quotes, and the threat of the so-called threat of ISIS, and many other topics included as well. So thank you guys so much for sticking around with us. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you for all of our new listeners. Please spread the word. You can also find us online at talkfreedom.webs.com, as well as on Facebook. It's facebook.com/talkfreedomnow. Or no, I'm sorry, it's Freedom Talk Now. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Talk Free Podcast. That's at Talk Free Podcast on Twitter. All right, here we go. Alright, hello, and welcome once again to part 2 of LTF. That's Let's Talk Freedom, featuring our in-studio guest, Dr. Richard Pomante, discussing many topics here. One of the first things that I wanted to touch on here, which I actually meant to touch on the first part of the episode, we got so wrapped up talking about everything else, which is fine. Like I said before, this is the whole thing about this is just kind of a free-for-all. It's not scripted or anything like that, so it's a free-flowing discussion, but I did want to kind of backtrack and touch on the subject in regards to your awakening, Richard. I know in the beginning when you and I, we've been friends now, and for a few years now, and when you and I would have our discussions on Facebook, especially during election time, in regards to Obama and his campaign, running for the presidency.
Yep.
And everything that I was about politically, as far as waking up. First and foremost, the people that were in my sphere of influence, as it were, to just kind of wake them up from the false left-right paradigm, and just kind of shaking people awake to realize that there's no real difference between the two-party false left-right paradigm system that we have in place right now, and all the great discussions and debates that we would have back and forth. And you know, I always respected your opinion, because I always considered you to be, as I've told you before in the past, that I've always considered you to be one of the more intelligent friends that I have. You know, you're a pretty smart guy. So I always
appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when you disagreed with my opinion, I always took everything you said. You know, I always respected your opinion, even though I disagreed with your opinion or your opinions in that regard politically. I always respected your point of view, because of the fact that I do consider you an intelligent person. Because a lot of people who have and had the point of view that you had were, for lack of a better word, not so intelligent or informed. Right. Not so much intelligent, really. A lot of people who have that point of view, it's not so much that they're not smart people. They're just uninformed because they're distracted or concerned with other things in the world. They may be very smart people within their sphere of the world that they operate in, whether, you know, they're IT, you know, people who work in the information technology world, or lawyers or doctors who just happen to not be educated in that regard and in that realm of information. So I always respected where you were coming from, but I also felt at the same time, honestly, and quite frankly, that at that time that you were woefully uninformed, and I felt it my responsibility to just kind of share with you the information that I had, which is the whole point of why I do the podcast. And if you've listened to shows in the past, and other people who've listened to past shows, the whole purpose of this show is really just to educate people. It's not to beat anybody up. It's not to insult anybody. It's not to hurt anybody's feelings. It's just to say, hey, this is what's really going on. I want to help you because I love you, and I want all of us to come together. And there's a certain part of it that's not 100% altruistic. You know, it's not just, you know, completely about because I love you and want to help you and don't want to see anything bad happen to you, but because of the fact that we are community, we are one human family. Any change that we can affect for positive to have a positive direction to go into, I'm not going to have a positive outcome in my life for my family if you're not on board as my friend, as my neighbor, as an individual within this world and this country and this sphere of existence that we're all connected to. Right. You know, so if I help you,
it's within your self-interest. It's within your
absolutely.
It's within all of our self-interest to inform each other and to educate each other, and a lot of your don't kid yourself. A lot of it, what you do, is because you love people and because you do want to see good in this world. But yeah,
at the same time, that's the point. Yeah, and that's the point that I want to make. Is again, don't get me wrong. It is out of love, because that's just my nature. Right. But it also, I just don't want people to, because I know how cynical people can be, and I know even a person who's listening to this show, they might not be listening with the same heart. Right. That you would listen to. They would listen to because they want to look for the holes and to poke at it and to be cynical about it and pass judgment and to come with the opinion of, oh, this guy's just making it that it's about love when really it's just about self-preservation. And I want to be honest and say, yeah, to a certain degree it is about self-preservation. It's not 100% altruistic. For sure. Yeah. I have a family. I have a son that I want to protect, and I am a realist in that I know that by sharing this information with others that we can come together as a community. Right. And my family will be safer because you're connected to my family. We're all in this community together, and I'm looking out for you, and you're looking out for me, and so on and so forth. But yes, I agree. It's about 50-50, honestly. It's about 50. It's 50% just self-preservation, and we want to look out for my family, but it is genuinely a love for my fellow man and individuals that I've come in contact with, people that I consider friends and acquaintances, and especially people that I respect, like individuals such as yourself.
Thanks, Robert. I appreciate it. If I could take myself back to those days, what my mindset was at that point, my mindset back before I woke up was one of I did support Obama. I did support the Democratic Party. I think I was more attracted to that party because of their social stances, and I think that's part of the game that is played with the false paradigm of the Democrat-Republican. The false paradigm of the Democrat-Republican paradigm is that they play on the social stances that each one takes because they are so opposite.
Right.
And then they get people to vote based on social stances instead of really voting for monetary reasons. And what really woke me up was my understanding of the monetary system.
Right.
When I found out that the Federal Reserve was, a private corporation that prints money and is the cause of our nation's debt, that's what woke me up.
Right.
Because really, a lot of people, you ask them, where's the debt from? Oh, where's the debt from? Oh, it's from China. Oh, we owe money to China.
Right.
Or
that's the most common answer
or we're not taxing enough.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's too much entitlements, Social Security or whatever. But no, the debt is based on our government borrowing money from a bank.
Right.
That's our debt.
Right. Absolutely. That's the majority of it. Now, those other things do, honestly, just to kind of play devil's advocate here for a second, those other issues that you brought up do affect it a little bit, but by comparison, they're really just drops in the bucket. Yeah. All the entitlement programs are a little bit damaging. The China issue is a little bit damaging. These are things that make slight dents, but for the most part, like you said, it's the majority of the problem is the Federal Reserve printing our money into complete non-value.
Right, and then when you are able to understand that, then you can see why our military budget is so high. You can see why we contract our military services out to private corporations.
Sure.
You can see why there's so many wars going on, and not just and then you can also see why the government spends its money recklessly on so many things. Like I sent you a link.
Yes.
The 30 stupid things.
Yes, I actually read some of those on air. I read some of those on air a few episodes back.
Yeah, that's why the government spends money on why Cambodian monkeys, why they, how they act when they're drunk. $3 million or something ridiculous.
There was another one. I think it had something to do with something about quails from some country. I can't remember where. The quails on cocaine, how they...
Yeah, the Japanese quail on cocaine. That's what it was. Japanese quails.
Sexually irresponsible.
Yeah, and why their inhibitions sexually went down when they were high on cocaine.
It hurts my head. It hurts my head.
But that's what really opened my eyes and made me see things how they really are. Right. Because when you see that both parties really, when it comes to economic issues... When it comes to military issues, they are the same.
Right.
They are are absolutely the same.
Absolutely.
And when there is a unity between the Democrats and Republicans, you just know that there's a lie going on.
That's when you know there's trouble.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I have in one of the offices where I work. Some of you may know I work in insurance sales, and the office where I work, there's two older gentlemen. And one is a far left-leaning liberal Democrat, and the other one is on the opposite end of the spectrum, and he's a far right-leaning Republican. Both older gentlemen in their 50s. Mm-hmm. And what's really cool though is that they're really good friends. Like they get along super well, even though politically and philosophically they disagree 100%. Couldn't be more opposite. And they have political discussions. What's cool about it is that they do it with the utmost respect. Mutual respect between the two, which is beautiful. Similar between you and I when we were on opposite ends of the spectrum. Even though I wasn't a Republican, but I was still a little bit more right leaning, which I still honestly I still kind of am. But I don't consider myself a Republican for the most part. I'm just right leaning as far as some of the more deeper philosophical ideals of the right, I guess. But for the most part, you and I, we always had a mutual respect. So it's kind of the same thing, but with old guys. Like it's pretty much going to be